It's week 10, day 68 of my full-time chronic pain rehabilitation journey. My name's Jason, and today I'm going to talk about emotional meltdowns. They are to be expected, and learning to manage them takes time and a lot of practice. First though, a quick status update. I am tired, and the reason is I took yesterday off, and today I went to the gym and did a double workout, which means I got there about 8:30 and I left about 1:30. It was 5 hours of non-stop weightlifting. So I did 2 days worth of weightlifting in a single day. I did this because I had, for some reason, a surplus of energy, but now that energy has been expended and I am dead tired. I set a personal record today during my weightlifting frenzy. On the decline squat, I did 14 repetitions at 360 pounds. That's up from 11 repetitions at 330 pounds. I also am on a quest to find the perfect cheese substitute. I used to have one at my local grocery store and then it disappeared. And someone gave me a tip on Facebook and said, hey, go to Trader Joe's and get their almond cheese. So I went down to Trader Joe's. It's not close to my house. And I got 10 bags. It was in my shopping cart. And as I was checking out, the attendant said, hey, do you realize that there's actually milk in that? And I'm like, what? Isn't it a nut cheese? Isn't the point of a nut cheese not to have milk in it? Sure enough, I looked at the back ingredient list and there was milk in it. If there's going to be milk in your nut cheese, you might as well just have regular cheese. I consider this marketing fraud. I was incensed and I'm still kind of put out about it. I'm not sure what to do, but I'm going to keep looking for a good cheese substitute. As you know, I consume minimal animal products, and I will not have daily, or I should actually say weekly, dairy on my pizza. I have a tip. It's related to resistance training, and basically if your data that you're keeping, and you should be keeping data on your progress, says you can handle more weight, chances are you can handle more weight. And the reason I went to 360 pounds today is because I could tell from the number of reps I was doing, repetitions that is, I could do more. And sure enough, I did. All right, on to today's topic. Meltdowns are to be expected. As much as I'd like to eradicate them from my life, they do pop up from time to time. I have a backstory here. I've been trying to think of a way to integrate this into my daily videos, and I provided myself my own outlet for it. So I was at the local grocer, it's Harmon's, and I saw this woman. She was on a scooter, you know, one of the scooters that the stores provides. I guess it's technically like a mobilized wheelchair. And she was having a fight with one of the workers there. And I could just tell from her body language and the way she was interacting that she was blowing something way out of proportion. But what was interesting to me was her physical condition. I could just tell that she was weary, she was overweight, so partially crippled, she couldn't walk well. She found it necessary to ride one of the motorized scooters. And when I followed her out of the store, because I was done shopping, I was on my way out when I saw the altercation. I followed her out of the store and I saw her get up and she was kind of shuffling along, walking back to her car, and her spine was curved pretty badly where she was hunched over. More than I hunch when I started my journey, so I could tell that she was more physically debilitated than I was. And I think this all played into what happened at Harmon's, where she got into this fight. And I don't think it probably had anything to do with whatever the fight appeared to be about. I think it was about the fact that she is probably not a happy person. She's in pain a lot, and that her weariness and fatigue of just existing probably gets the better of her. She's walking on a wire's edge, and it doesn't take much to set her off. And I can empathize with that because I've been that person. And I thought, when I saw this altercation, I felt such sympathy for her. I'm like, man, I used to be like that. And I kept thinking, like, how can I help her? What could I do to bring somebody like that back? And then last night, I became her in my own house. And so I'm going to go over this story. In part, it's an act of penance. I figure if I tell you about it, I will have a disincentive to do it again. And I also believe that every person watching this video right now has done something like this in their lifetime, probably multiple times. So let's just be real with each other, not pretend that we're perfect anymore. Because pretending you're perfect is part of the problem. All right, I'm not going to give you all the details. Suffice it to say that I was an ass. And Eden got caught in the crossfire of this. I wasn't intending for that. She started to cry, which made me feel more like an ass. And I hurt Nora's feelings and just screwed up, basically. I had an emotional meltdown. There's no other way to put it. That's probably all you need to know. And that's part of the penance. So I asked myself this morning, can I feel sympathy for myself the same way I felt sympathy for this woman at Harmon's who had her meltdown in public? And I think I can. In fact, I'm working on having that empathy. I have been sleep deprived for 2 weeks. I know that is playing a factor. I was not myself. I am pursuing a very taxing rehabilitation schedule. I'm working out very hard. I'm expending lots of energy every day. And the things I'm doing are difficult. And so when I get home and later in the evening, I have less of a reserve to work with. So that is a mitigating factor. And I was caught off guard. I thought I was past this. I haven't had a meltdown like this in 6 months. And so I thought it was all over with. And so I wasn't really on guard for it. And all of a sudden, hello, the asshole came out to play. There's no other way to put it. I'm trying to love myself for having done this, and I'm not making excuses. I'm just trying to give you some of the background as to why this might have happened and some of the mitigating reasons that I can, take it a little bit easier on myself than I might otherwise. I have a belief. This is a religious belief, so I'm going to take a little detour into religious territory for a minute. I am a Christian, and I believe that God loves the messy you and the messy me. So he doesn't love us because we are not assholes. He actually loves us even when we are assholes. And he has gone to extraordinary lengths to redeem the human family. One of my favorite scriptures is John 3:7. I don't have it memorized, so I'm going to read it. For God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. This has particular meaning to me because God knows the world is screwed up. He knows it's messy, and he knows it's full of a-holes. And he sent his Son anyway. And when I say an extraordinary effort, I mean that essentially the creator of the universe condescended, came down, lowered himself in state to be embodied in a mortal body on a planet in a backwater country that was essentially a vassal state to Rome, and lived the life of a carpenter, basically a peasant, not a king, not a political leader, none of that. And he did this essentially to walk among us, walk among the sick, the outcast, and the downtrodden, and to suffer and die and experience pain of which we cannot comprehend, all on our behalf. In other words, he loves us. He loves us as we are and wants to elevate us and help us become better, in essence, save us from our current condition. And so I believe since he has that love for me, I can have that love for me. So I ran into a YouTube commentator that also helped me to understand why I should have love for myself when I'm an a-hole. And she taught me that the expectation of perfection is the problem. The idea that has been implanted in my mind, whether or not I'm misinterpreting my own religion, is up for grabs, but it's that I am essentially to be perfect. And so I have this idea in my head that I need to be perfect like God is perfect, like Jesus was perfect. And I think it's made me horribly intolerant of my own imperfections and the fact that I can succumb to the temptations and the mistakes common to all mankind. In other words, I'm just one of you. I'm ordinary, I'm common, and I have all those same faults. And for some reason, this has always been vexing to me. But that expectation of perfection, to be something other than that, really is the problem. That doesn't mean we can't do better, but we are always going to be human and subject to those same impulses, the same impulses common to all mankind. So her name is Dr. Carolyn Leaf, and her advice is to basically jettison the shame and the condemnation and expect that sometimes we're going to get into verbal altercations. Sometimes we're going to say things we don't mean. Sometimes we're going to blow up. Sometimes we're going to do something embarrassing. Sometimes it's going to be public. Sometimes it's going to be private. It doesn't matter. It's going to happen, and it happens to all of us. Our job then is to manage this messy state. And to do that, it requires repeat conscious effort to overcome all of those things I just described. And you know when you're making progress when the distance between the outbursts and the altercations shortens, and you also can tell that the duration of the outbursts and the aftermath shortens. To give you a couple of examples, it's been over 6 months since I've had essentially an emotional meltdown of that magnitude. And so I wasn't prepared for it. I didn't see it coming. It just got me. And the duration, it did kind of mess up that night, but by the next morning, I was very penitent, and I was resolved to do better and to apologize to my family and become something other. And so today, I got with my family, I gathered them together, we had a quick family council, and I apologized to all of them. I apologized to Eden, I apologized to Asher, and I apologized to Nora. And I talked about what I'm going to do different next time. I have a plan, because this is a recurring problem. Not frequent, but it does happen from time to time. It's something I want to I want to kibosh, or get rid of, squash out of existence, basically. And the recurring plan is basically this. When I recognize that I'm compromised, and I'm hoping I can do this more often, I'm starting to get better at it. The minute I know that I'm compromised in some way, when this light bulb goes off, I'm going to recuse myself and essentially go into an adult timeout. I'm going to remove myself from my family, go somewhere, close the door, and do some breathing techniques, some meditation, something to get myself back in control. And I'm also resolved to pray, and I'm going to ask God to please help me become a better man, to teach me more patience, to teach me to be more loving, and to teach me, in essence, not to be an a-hole. And I mean that sincerely, like I am going to plead with him for this, because I believe that he will help me overcome my faults, ones that I thought were already behind me, and I was mistaken. So I still have some work to do in that area. And if you do too, I just want you to know you're not alone. That's partly why I'm sharing this experience, is because I'm not above you. And I think all of us pretending to be perfect, it really is the problem. The reality is we're all more screwed up than we let on. Our Facebook profiles typically do not present this image to the world. We present a false image, a facade, if you will. And I've decided that I am no longer interested in facades for myself or for anyone else, which is why I share openly what's going on with me, in the hope that it will reach someone. They'll know that I'm real. They'll come to trust me, because I don't have any agenda other than to tell the truth and to help. That's really all I'm about. And I'm resolved to do better the next time. And I'll do better because I have a plan. I did mention this in a prior day's video, that if you have a recurring problem, you can sit back, think about what you're going to do the next time something like that happens, and what you're going to do differently. I know it's going to take everything I have when I'm compromised like that to step away. But I'm resolved to do it, and I'm going to ask God for his help, because I believe he can heal me. Fighting for your life means to manage messy emotions. Like the unregulated emotions themselves, expect the journey to be messy. If you find my videos helpful, please share them. Don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, keep fighting for your life.